Hello and welcome to... Ow! Oh! Ah! Ow! Six of the Best. A quick trip around some of Scunthorpe and surrounding areas, most outstanding features and places of interest. Enjoy. This is the Cocked Hat in Scunthorpe. It opened in 1953. Now the name likely refers to the historic cocked hat, which was a style of hat that was popular in the 17th and 18th centuries and often worn by soldiers and sailors. Now this is another example of a great entertainment venue throughout the 70s, the 80s and the early 90s. In my time, the left-hand side was a nightclub called Fagan's, and it was even a nightclub on a Monday, and it was chock-a-block. All of which at a time when bars and clubs, certainly in Scunthorpe, they sold two things. They sold alcohol and more alcohol. Oh yeah. No food, you could smoke inside, you could pretty much do as you please, and you had to be a proper nut job to get barred from anywhere back then. But people did. The Cocked Hat was a number of community pubs that opened on the new estates during the 1950s in Scunthorpe to accommodate the needs of the new influx of steelworkers and their families. How times have changed. I had some killer times in them walls. But hey-ho, I fear, like many others, those doors, sadly, most likely, will never open again. So hats off to the Cocked Hat. Now, for a lot of my mates, this is a proper trip down memory lane. Riddins School. It was originally Riddins Secondary School, and that's Riddins, not the Ridings. Yeah, you're not posh. It opened in the mid-1950s and later became Riddins Comprehensive School. The school building located on Enderby Road it's now part for the Mellier School South. More of that in a bit. And it is scheduled for demolition, oh man, to make way for housing and part of a larger regeneration project for the Riddins area. So the original school that opened in 1956 had only 600 children, still a lot, but it later was enlarged to become the comprehensive that was known as, for double the amount, 1,200 children, about 30 to 35 a classroom, and that was to accommodate the surging numbers down Riddins due to the fact that loads of people were having unprotected sex. And why not? Because you have kids, that's why not. Anyway, demolition was planned to begin in September 2025, this year. The original school hall and gymnasium will not be demolished at the initial stage, as they are currently used by the Kimberley Performing Arts Centre. Great work they do too. Now, anyone from Riddins or Westcliff, go with me on this. Cast your minds back to the 70s and 80s and imagine, how the news that the two schools, Riddins Comp and Westcliff's Thomas Humpter, were going to merge. Unthinkable. They hated each other with a passion and had regular gatherings on Burringham Park Field to, let's say, discuss their differences. Even worse, if you found yourself, as I did on one occasion, in no man's land, Yeah, Poppin' Shop. When old man Jacobs had it. But hey, you know, that's in the past. Don't get me wrong, it's a good thing in its timeline. But back in the day, we're merging the schools, not a prayer. Anyway, a fond farewell and a sad goodbye to Riddings Comprehensive. Right, this is without doubt the jewel in the crown of Scunthorpe's industrial garden town. Central Park was created as part of the 1951 Festival of Britain to celebrate the end of World War II. Since its establishment, the park has been significantly developed and now spans over 55 acres, featuring formal gardens, play areas, a splash pad. I don't know what that is. It has received Green Flag Awards for its excellence as a green space. Cheers! Horticulture. It is known for its formal gardens with diverse seasonal planting, herbaceous borders, I do like one of them, and specimen trees. The park hosts an award-winning Baby Rainbow Memorial Garden, an area designed to provide an uplifting memorial space. A 5k park run takes place every Saturday morning and is gaining in popularity with hundreds of people taking part. And I know this to be true because I have witnessed them on a regular basis from the comfort of my travelling warm vehicle. Yeah. Now, Senny Park in my day, what a place. It had a split level paddling pool, an inadequately small changing shed. I'd been in bigger women, to be honest, since then. It had an half metal and half wooden rocking horse that was just horrific to be on. Oh, banging your arms on it, banging your knees on it, holding on for grim life. It had a tall slide, complete with a box top. But the centrepiece was the steam locomotive. Massive bit of kit that some years later was removed when it was found to be housing asbestos in its engine compartment. But not until at least 3 generations of raggy-assed, verruga-riddled kids had a good climb all over it. a good climb all over it. But it never did us any harm, did it? Did it? Other notables in Central Park in the past were the hot house, where you could go have a fag when it was snowing outside, because it was a hot house. It was boiling. It had rare tropical plants, and it was adjoined to an aviary that had birds in it. And as part of the original layout, there was a concrete mushroom on Ashby Road, which was a regular hangout for kids. Yeah, particularly Russ Johns, who is still the same size as he was when he was 3. Weird. Central Park is an absolute gem. Beautiful. Check this out. St. Peter ad vincula. Now, ad vincula is a Latin phrase meaning in chains, and it refers to the story of St. Peter's imprisonment and miraculous release from prison. Built during the early 13th century, St. Peter's in Scunthorpe is a Grade 1 listed building, described by Sir John Betjeman and John Piper in the 1965 Shell Guide to Lincolnshire as one of the finest pure early English churches in the whole country. Brilliant. St. Peter's Church is one of the finest examples of early English architecture in existence. Oh yeah. And only exceptions of that period being the reset north porch entrance of circa 1200. That's ages ago. With its dogtooth mouldings, but still with a round arch. Yeah, very distinctive. First thing that struck my eye, to be honest. The transitional north doorway. The two renewed south aisle windows of circa 1300 with intersecting tracery. That's a word. And the 14th century tower at the west end with its battlemented parapet and crocketed finials. God, that was a good sentence. The tower parapet and buttresses date from the 15th to 16th century. So that's like new estate, innit? Yeah. The most striking features are the unusual round windows of the nave, which alternate with short lancets. God, there's some words here that I have no idea what they are, but I am enjoying them. Mainly clear glass in the chancel have greater daylight. Oh yeah. It gives the impression that the sun is streaming in. A low lancet window at the west end of the nave, affording a view of the church interior, is believed to be something called a squint. Yeah. And the squint was where the plague victims could observe services still. Yeah, so they were dropping to bits, but they still needed to thank the old mythical Sky Fairy. Good luck with that. How did that work out for you? The walls are built from coursed ashlar ashlar. That's like a Scouser getting a fix. They got any ashlar. Anyway, the walls are of varying heights and split faces to areas of coursed quite random stone. The stone is mostly a very curious fossil-rich stone, which may have been from the same beds as the local iron ore. I would think that would be so. The chancel houses 3 sedilia. Really? 3 of them? What is it? No idea. A double recess containing a piscina and credence and 2 double ombres. Oh! I'm going to have to go back and see what this lot means. One of the oldest artefacts is a bronze Sanctus bell mentioned in the 1553 inventory of church goods and walled up to prevent its removal by Queen Elizabeth I commissioners, who went out in every diocese after the short reign of the Roman Catholic Queen Mary to list all popish practices. What on earth are they going on about? Popish practices? No idea. I'll look that up in a bit. The bell was only rediscovered in 1870. There are various Commonwealth graves scattered around the graveyard, but let's be honest, it's magnificent, isn't it? Particularly on a day like today, where the sun is beating off it. And the interior was heavenly. There's no other way to explain it. Stunning. St. Peter ad Vincula. This is a popular location. It's Silica Park. Yeah. And it is described as an informal country park. What does that even mean? Dunno. It's based on the site of a former sand workings. There are plenty of areas to walk, enjoy a picnic, and there's even a fishing lake. And again, it's another one of Scunny's nature reserves, or walks, that are so close to a major road, but once you're in amongst it, it's just peaceful. There are a few different ways to enter the reserve, and once you're in there, there's wildlife aplenty. The footpaths are okay and fairly obvious. There's adequate parking, and it's fair to say it's one of the less visited of Scunny's nature reserves, but it does have a charm of its own, and it doesn't cover as vast a space as some of the others, so you can pretty much get to explore its entirety at your leisure and still have time to fill your day with more mundane tasks such as shopping or hoovering your car out. Although, to be honest, our lass does most of them jobs, so happy days. I'll just go do another lap around Sillies. Go have a gleg yourself. It is lovely. And finally, for this episode, welcome to Scunthorpe Post Office on Church Lane. Built by architect John Haswell. Cracking job he did too. It opened in 1939 and closed as a post office in 1992. The building was a notable example of modernism for its time and was designed to house both the public post office services and the electromechanical telecommunications exchange and telephone operators manual board. And breathe. What a sentence that was. The building itself housed a variety of functions. The top floor contained a large telecommunications exchange. The bode section of the top floor housed the manual telephone board, and the rest of the building was dedicated to the public post office and sorting offices, which are still there, I do believe. Architectural style, it's got plenty. The design was considered a rare excursion into modernism by the Office of Works architects of the interwar period. For me, it's a classic look, very stylish, and I do remember fondly queuing up, waiting, walking to the counter back in the day. If that building had a sea view, it would be a 5-star hotel and restaurant. Yeah. But it isn't, and it hasn't.